Radio City Rocket Kimberly Wolin married Grammy-winning singer and musical titan Glen Campbell in 1982 and was hopelessly in love and high on life, but the Rhinestone Cowboys' battle with drugs and alcohol had only just begun. Decades later now Kim Campbell, could have never imagined becoming the caretaker for the country music star while he descended into his lengthy, public battle with Alzheimer's, until his death in 2017. Now Glen's widow reveals the highs and heartbreaking lows of their 35 years together in her autobiography, Gentle on My Mind, In Sickness and in Health with Glen Campbell, published by Thomas Nelson on June 23. Alzheimer's comes on so gradually that it insidiously impedes your memory of your loved one in his pre-Alzheimer's state, Kim writes in the heartbreaking book. It was effectively robbing both of us of our memories, Kim says, remembering the profound love they shared before his war with an invisible and inaudible enemy. The country music star died on August 8, 2017 at age of 81, after a 6-year battle with Alzheimer's. Kim and Glen met on a blind first date to see James Taylor, which turned rocky as Glen got sloppy drunk back at his hotel wanting to jump for bones. Kim said she had her religious boundaries. The big star, 22 years her senior, wanted to romance her with jewelry, a car, take her shopping and show her a glamorous world that she never imagined. It was suddenly life in the fast lane of limos, flowers, fine dining and Broadway shows for the girl from Indiana who had never been west of St. Louis. She fell hopelessly in love and then he was gone and back into the arms of country star, Tanya Tucker, drinking and drugging in a toxic affair Glen called an addiction worse than cocaine. Kim writes that she had already put Glen on a pedestal and she spent the next 3 months begging God to bring him back to her. She altered her prayer and the next day Glen called and she joined him in Tahoe where they danced their way into the bedroom. Kim became his angel and all was magical in their affair while he was on the road, except for the bar and the hotel room. She writes of how he got so drunk after every show he could barely walk, quickly changing from sweet and humble to belligerent and self-centered while saying, "It isn't a problem, honey. I've got it all under control." Kim became caretaker for Glen with stardust in her eyes as they traveled around the world meeting famous people. He drank wine at lunch, whiskey at dinner, and somehow excused it but it wasn't going away. Every night he drank himself unconscious, Kim writes. One night he got so drunk he locked himself out on the hotel balcony naked and couldn't open the door to get back in until she helped. Then he couldn't make it to the bathroom in time so he peed in her suitcase. When she asked him not to drink before a show in Vegas, he poured a beer over her head. Asking him to consider even the idea that he had a problem sent him into a rage. Kim writes of how she became Glen's angel and all was magical in their affair while he was on the road, except for the bar in the hotel room. He drank wine at lunch, whiskey at dinner, and somehow excused it but it wasn't going away. Kim writes of how she put Glen on a pedestal and prayed that he would come back to her after leaving her to go back into the arms of Tanya Tucker. Campbell had 3 wives and 3 failed marriages before Kim. His tirades led to cocaine-fueled emotional terrorism he exercised with Kim that left her hiding and trembling under the dining room table. She wanted to flee but also wanted to be his wife. Now pregnant with their first child, she had to learn to deal with Glen who was one day sane, one day insane. Drinking round the clock, rolling out of bed and onto the floor and peeing on himself didn't even wake him up. At point while he was in a crazed drunken rage, he pointed a gun at her. Kim asked Gene Autry's wife, Jackie, for help having experienced problems with the singing and drinking cowboy. Glen's drinking finally stopped when Kim confronted him in a saloon, handed their baby to him and walked out. It woke him up to the responsibilities of the father and husband he always wanted to be and he turned to his faith and promised to change. Off he went to the Betty Ford Center to sober up. Boozing didn't stop altogether but there was a bigger roadblock ahead. Glen started forgetting lyrics and told Kim at one point, "I'm your little boy." She realized there was an issue when Glen told her he wanted her to be his mother. Doctors diagnosed him with mild cognitive impairment in 2009, maybe early Alzheimer's. Offbeat obsessions followed. Glen became disturbed at how cars were parked in the driveway and needed them to be lined up in a specific pattern and at precise angles. He then suspected a thief was breaking into the house and stealing his socks. At one point Glen showed her how much toothpaste to use to get the proper foaming and that would save them a lot of money each year. He shadowed her everywhere walking behind her. When he forgot how to get home after going out, it was back to the doctor and Alzheimer's was confirmed. On the golf course, he spent his time looking for golf balls rather than playing. And then one day he turned to Kim and asked, "Who are you?" Alzheimer's robs people of their lives while they are still living with them, and robs families of the people they love while they are still standing in front of their eyes. After the diagnosis, Glen went on tour and sometimes forgot lyrics but then other times played and sang his hits perfectly.